We got some breaking news coming out of Ottawa. Let's bring in CTV's Michel Boyer. He's standing by. So, Michel, more information with regards to the Finance Committee and who will be testifying. What have you got?
That's right. We've been waiting for this pretty much for a week now. I can confirm that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his Chief of Staff will be testifying to the Finance Committee in the House of Commons. That is now scheduled for Thursday afternoon. The Finance Committee had asked to speak with Justin Trudeau, his Chief of Staff. Of course, we do know that they had already heard from Finance Minister Bill Morneau, and this is all about the We Charity affair that has plagued and dogged this government for a month now. There are many questions about the ties the Prime Minister has to the charity, the ties that the Finance Minister has to the charity. And we do know, and really it was a major revelation from Finance Minister Bill Morneau last week when he spoke. He said that morning he realized that he hadn't repaid the We Charity $41,000. That was like an atomic cloud going off here in Ottawa. And I think right across the country, a lot of Canadians shocked that the finance minister omitted to repay that exponentially large amount of money. So now, once again, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, his Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, both going to be speaking to the committee Thursday afternoon.
Yes, and that's interesting. And you mentioned there, so now we've got that date, and it's going to be, there'll be 24 hours in between. Craig and Mark Hilberger will be speaking. We know that they're standing before the committee tomorrow, and then there'll be a day, I guess, in between, and then the Prime Minister is going to be speaking on Thursday. You mentioned there the $41,000 Bill Morneau announcing last week during his testimony that he'd written that check to the We Charity saying that this is now all paid off. And as you said, a lot of people scratching their heads going, wow, that is a lot of money that you just realized you need to pay back. Talk to us more about some numbers there, because we know that you were taking a look at the contract between the We Charity and the government and what those numbers are. I'm sure the 41,000 is going to come up as well, just with regards to Bill Morneau. Yeah. But the bigger numbers here, Michel, talk to us a little bit more what you've learned there.
Yeah, we obtained the contract, and the contract was sent out to all members of the Finance Committee after Bill Morneau did make his appearance. And what's interesting here is that the government had been talking about a $912 million program for these students. We know that the charity was slated to get up to $43 million to basically dole out all that money. But what's interesting here is the announcement happened. Justin Trudeau said, we've budgeted $912 million, but the actual program that was designed by the public servants was only to the tune of $500 million. So there was a pretty big gap there. Why was there that gap? Why did the civil servants not design a program for $912 million? I think that's something that the Kielburgers are going to be asked about. I think that's something that Katie Telford, the Prime Minister, are also going to be asked about. One thing that I do want to point out is that when the government set aside this $912 million, they could always come up with another contribution agreement that would eat up the rest of that money a little later. This was an unproven program. They didn't know how it was going to work, how it was going to, roll out, if it was going to be effective, if there would have been a better way. But of course, now we know is that, that contract basically torn up. It's null and void. The We Charity not carrying through with this program. So it's going to be a busy day here in Ottawa.
Yeah, it certainly
busy week,
is.
I should say.
Busy week, certainly. And really quickly, Michel, before I let you go, what will be interesting as we look over the course of the week, I guess Friday is going to be our major day of follow-up on analysis on what's unfolded here. Who is saying what? Who is protecting who? And where does the accountability stand?
Yeah, I think, let's be honest, accountability needs to go right to the top. We know, based on an Angus Reid poll that came out this morning, that this has really hurt Justin Trudeau. A lot of Canadians their approval rating, or their I guess you could say his approval rating has gone down. We're talking about 6%. And what a contrast. Talk about a roller coaster, because you see that big jump there from February to March. With the handling of COVID-19 and the response, he really did see a great amount of approval. His approval numbers really did go up in a significant way. And so a lot of Liberals that I've been speaking to, fully aware, this is a self-inflicted wound. there are a lot of Liberals who are very upset, and even more upset with Bill Morneau because of this $41,000, I guess we could say, lapse. Where he forgot to repay that amount. That is so damaging to the Liberal brand, not because you just forgot $41,000, but because the Liberals, their main message is, trying to help the middle class and those working to join it. And that does not equate to connecting with the middle class.
Well, we will see where some of those answers come from both parties. Again, thanks a lot for this breaking news. CTV's Michel Boyer in Ottawa, confirming now that the Prime Minister and his Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, will be testifying before the Finance Committee on Thursday. That'll be Thursday afternoon. We'll, of course, have full coverage of that. As we know, Michel, you'll be on top of that for us as well. Thanks a lot for this.
You bet.